My friend called me selfish for wanting my cabin back. Now, she's left with nothing. I bought my vacation cabin 8 years ago with money I saved from working double shifts for nearly a decade. It was a 2-bedroom place by a lake about 3 hours from my apartment in the city. Nothing fancy, but it was mine and I loved it. I went there every other weekend to fish and read and forget about work. It was the one place where I could completely relax. My friend Greta knew about the cabin because I talked about it constantly. We'd been friends since our mid-20s and she always said she wanted to visit someday. Last spring, she asked if she could stay there for a week while she figured some things out. She said she was going through a rough patch with her landlord and needed space to clear her head. I said of course. I gave her the spare key and told her to enjoy the peace and quiet. That was 11 months ago. Greta never left. The first month, she said she just needed a little more time. Her landlord situation was worse than she thought and she was looking for a new apartment, but the market was terrible. I said okay and told her to take another few weeks. The second month, she said she found a place, but it fell through at the last minute. She asked if she could stay until she found something else. I said fine, but I wanted to come up for a weekend soon. She said that would be awkward since she was living there now and needed privacy. I reminded her it was my cabin. She said she knew, but she was going through a lot and having me there would stress her out. I let it go because I didn't want to fight. By month 3, Greta stopped asking permission and started acting like she owned the place. She told me she rearranged the furniture because the layout didn't make sense. She said she threw out some of my old fishing gear because it was taking up space. She mentioned she gave my number to a handyman to fix the porch steps and I should expect a bill. I asked when she was planning to move out. She said she was working on it, but these things take time. She said I should be grateful someone was taking care of the property while I was busy in the city. Month 4 is when I drove up unannounced. Greta had completely transformed my cabin. My furniture was in the shed. Her stuff was everywhere. She'd painted the bedroom without asking. She had mail coming to my address with her name on it. When I walked in, she acted annoyed that I didn't call first. She said I couldn't just show up at someone's home without warning. I told her it was my home. She said it was complicated now and we should talk about boundaries. I asked her directly when she was leaving. She said she had nowhere to go and I had a perfectly good apartment in the city, so why did I need 2 places anyway? She said I was being selfish. She said real friends share what they have. I drove home that night and couldn't sleep. I spent the next week researching my options. Formal eviction would take months and cost money. Greta knew that. She was counting on me not wanting the hassle. She was counting on me being too nice to do anything about it. She was wrong. I started with the utilities. The cabin was in my name and I paid all the bills. I called the electric company and had the power transferred to a new account that required someone to be present to activate. Greta called me furious saying the lights went out. I told her there must be an issue with the grid and she should contact the utility company. She did. They told her the account was closed and the property owner would need to set up new service. She called me again demanding I fix it. I said I'd get around to it when I had time. Then I did the same thing with water and gas. One by one, the utilities got shut off. Greta called me constantly saying I was being petty. I said I was just reorganizing my accounts. She said she couldn't live without running water. I said she couldn't live in my cabin without my permission either. But here we were. She bought a generator and bottled water. She was determined to outlast me, so I made things worse. I told the internet company I was selling the property and needed to cancel service. Greta lost Wi-Fi. I told the trash collection service to stop coming. Greta's garbage piled up. I called the propane company and said I wouldn't be needing deliveries anymore. Greta couldn't heat the cabin when the temperature dropped. She called me screaming that I was trying to freeze her out. I told her she was free to leave whenever she wanted. She said she had rights. I said she had a key I gave her for 1 week 11 months ago and nothing else. Then I got creative. Full story on channel, link below. My mother-in-law poisoned my food to prove my deadly allergy was fake. My last shred of patience died right there. I've been allergic to shellfish my whole life, the kind where my throat closes up and I need an EpiPen within minutes or I could die. When I met my husband James, I told him on our second date because restaurants were always tricky and I needed him to understand why I had to ask so many questions about ingredients. He was great about it, always double-checking menus, carrying backup EpiPens, making sure restaurants knew about my allergy. His mother Linda was a different story. From the moment James told her about my allergy, she rolled her eyes and said young people nowadays all claimed allergies for attention. She said in her day, nobody had allergies and everyone was fine. I showed her my medical alert bracelet, my prescription papers, even offered to have my allergist talk to her. She waved it all away, saying doctors would diagnose anything for money. The first few family dinners were tense. Linda would make elaborate seafood dishes, then act offended when I couldn't eat them. She'd say she forgot about my fake allergy and make something else while sighing dramatically. James would bring safe food for me, but Linda would call it insulting to bring outside food to her table. She started saying I was using allergies to control James, to make myself special, to get attention at every meal. She'd tell anyone who'd listen that I was ruining family dinners with my pickiness. Then she started testing me. She'd swear something was safe, then mention after I'd eaten it that there might have been shrimp paste in the sauce, but since I didn't react, I must be cured. I'd panic, take Benadryl, and watch for symptoms while she laughed about me being dramatic. James would get angry, but Linda would cry that she was just trying to help me get over my mental block about seafood. She started hiding seafood in things. Tiny amounts at first. She'd grind up dried shrimp and put it in seasonings, use oyster sauce in vegetables, sneak fish sauce into marinades. Each time I'd feel my throat getting itchy, my lips tingling, and I'd have to take Benadryl immediately. Linda would say it was psychosomatic because if I really had an allergy, I'd be in the hospital. She didn't understand that the tiny amounts were just below my threshold for anaphylaxis, but still causing reactions. James caught her once adding something to my plate, and she said it was just extra seasoning. We stopped going to her house for dinner, but she'd bring food to our place, always insisting she made it specially for me. I stopped eating anything she made. She told the whole family I was refusing her food to be spiteful. At James's birthday dinner at a restaurant, Linda insisted on ordering for everyone, saying she knew the menu best. She ordered me a pasta dish, swearing it was safe. The waiter confirmed no shellfish. I was hungry and tired of fighting, so I ate it. Within minutes, my throat started closing. James stabbed me with the EpiPen while calling 911. At the hospital, the doctor said I'd ingested concentrated shellfish extract, enough to kill someone with my level of allergy if not for the immediate EpiPen. Linda arrived at the hospital playing the concerned mother-in-law, but the nurse was suspicious. She asked how shellfish extract ended up in a supposedly safe dish. Linda said the restaurant must have made a mistake, but the restaurant manager had come to the hospital with the security footage because they were terrified of being sued. The video showed Linda at the table alone for a few minutes while we were in the bathroom. She'd pulled a small bottle bottle from her purse and poured it into my food. The manager had kept the plate for testing after we left in the ambulance. The police were called. Linda tried to say it was just fish sauce for flavor, that she didn't know it would hurt me. The officer asked why she brought fish sauce to a restaurant. She said she always carried seasonings. He asked to see her purse and they couldn't believe what they found. Full story on channel, link below. Found out. My stepdad had been having an affair with my mom's best friend and controlling my finances for years. He confessed everything right before my wedding, so I asked my uncle to walk me down the aisle. Instead, my stepdad Garrison married my mother when I was 8, 2 years after my dad died of a heart attack at the gym. Everyone said Garrison was a godsend. He had a steady accounting job, he paid for my braces, he sat through every middle school band concert. My mother's best friend Marlo was always around too, ever since I could remember. Marlo never married, never had kids, and treated our house like her second home. She'd bring over wine on Friday nights and stay until midnight laughing in the kitchen. When my dad died, she moved in for 3 months to help my mom. When I turned 12, Garrison sat me down and said since he was a CPA, he'd manage the inheritance my dad left me, $240,000 in a trust. You won't have to worry about a thing, kiddo. I'll grow it for college. My mother nodded along, grateful. I signed the paperwork at 17 when the trust transferred without reading a single page. Garrison kept managing it. He'd send me a quarterly summary that always looked the same. Modest growth, conservative investments, playing it safe for your future. I trusted him. He'd raised me. Last year I got engaged to Tobias. We picked a venue, a date, a guest list. I asked Garrison if I could pull from the trust for the wedding. He hesitated. There's been some market volatility, sweetheart. Let's keep the budget tight. I trimmed the guest list. I bought my dress secondhand. Tobias's parents covered the catering as a gift. 3 weeks before the wedding, Marlo called me out of nowhere and asked if we could meet for coffee. She'd been distant for almost a year. We met at a diner on the highway. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were red. I need to tell you something before Saturday, she said. And I need you to know it's not coming from a good place. It's coming from a guilty one. I set my coffee down. Garrison and I have been seeing each other for 19 years. The diner kept moving around us. The waitress refilled my water. He told me he was going to leave your mother when you turned 18, then when you graduated college, then when you got engaged. He kept moving the line. She slid an envelope across the table. I'm telling your mother tomorrow, but I needed you to hear it first because there's something else. Inside the envelope were bank statements, account numbers I didn't recognize, transfers. My name was on every line. He's been pulling from your trust for 9 years. Vacations, a boat, the down payment on my condo. She couldn't look at me. He told me the money was his. I found out 2 years ago. I drove straight from the diner to Garrison's office. He was eating a sandwich at his desk. I locked the door behind me and dropped the envelope on his keyboard. His face went gray. He started crying before I even spoke. Wet, gasping, crying. How much is left? I said. $42,000. $200,000 gone. The wedding I'd budgeted for. The down payment on a house. The cushion my father had died building for me. Garrison kept talking. He confessed to all of it. The affair, the money, a second affair with someone from his office, a gambling problem he'd hidden from my mother for 6 years. He said he wanted to come clean before the wedding so I could start my marriage with a clear conscience. I asked him to leave the room. He said it was his office. I left instead. I called my uncle Cassian from the parking lot, my dad's younger brother, the one who taught me to drive, who showed up at my graduation in a borrowed suit, who I hadn't seen in 2 years because Garrison didn't like him. Uncle Cass, I need you to walk me down the aisle on Saturday. He didn't ask why. He just said, what time should I be there? I told my mother that night, sitting on her bed while she folded laundry. I showed her the statements. I told her about Marlo. I told her about the office woman and the gambling. She didn't cry. She just sat there with a folded towel in her lap for a long time. Then she said, I knew about Marlo. I've known since you were 11. I stayed because of you. Saturday came. Uncle Cassian showed up in a navy suit with my father's old pocket square tucked into the front. He hugged me for a full minute in the bridal suite without saying anything. Garrison sat in the third row, alone. My mother sat in the front row, alone. Marlo wasn't there. Uncle Cassian walked me down the aisle and squeezed my hand when we reached the front. Your dad would be loud about this, he whispered. He'd be so loud. The pocket square sits framed on my hallway wall now.